Good afternoon, everybody. Today, I wanted to kind of touch base back on something because I woke up this morning feeling fantastic. I stayed up a little later than I wanted to because I was trying to get stuff done at the house. And so I ended up skipping the gym this morning, which is fine sometimes. I've needed the rest anyways. Things were pretty sore. But I woke up and got ready for work and just felt fantastic. And I had to think back, about a month ago or so, I decided that I really wasn't happy with a lot of the things that were going on in my life. Just the way things were taking place, the things that just weren't falling into place. They weren't working for me. They weren't working for the people around me. And I had to take a second to try to break down exactly what was going on. Why are these things happening? Why is things not working the way they're supposed to, the way they should, the way you feel that they should? And it's really easy to blame your surroundings and the people around you and the environments of your life, which that can play a big role. But at the same time, you got to remember what the common variable is. It's yourself. So I decided that it was time to take a little journey and look in the mirror and figure out what it is that I need to do to change the things that are going on in my life that I don't like, because there is so much that's outside of our control. And we can battle it as much as we want. We can argue, we can try to force things the way we want them because we think that's what's right and we think that that's how it's supposed to be. But in the end, you really got to break that down as to how selfish that is, because you are only thinking about yourself, not anything going on around you. And when you are that unhappy internally, you are going to take that out on everything around you. And in the end, you end up losing the things that mean the most to you, whether it be a job, whether it be your home, whether it be all the things around you, because you're too stubborn to change. The things that we value most, relationships, friendships, after a while, running into a wall, people get tired of not seeing any change. Jobs, they get tired of not seeing improvement. They get tired of not seeing your demeanor change, and they need to find somebody that has a better work attitude. And then you break it down even further, and you're not going to enjoy anything when you're that unhappy inside. You always think that you can just, okay, well, I can just get a new job and that'll make me happier. I can get a new place, I can move, that'll make me feel better. Or I just need to be in a relationship, I just need to find, the right other person. And, it always goes back to that. If your cup's empty, how are you going to fill anyone else's? Because that's what relationships are. That's what friendships are. It's about giving. It's not about receiving. It's not about what you take away from it. It's about what you can bring to it. And one of my personal problems is I've always tried to take pride in being a good man and being a good person. And unfortunately, you become complacent and you tend to let your ego get in the way of your decision making. And I am probably one of the most stubborn people that I know. I will run my head into a wall over and over and over again, thinking that I am doing something different than I am doing. And it usually takes something pretty big to shake me enough to realize that, hey, you're screwed up, buddy. And that's where it was time to wake up and see that if you want change, be change. It's like that what is that? I think it's a Buddhist saying, where if you want to change the world, change yourself. And I've always taken a lot of pride and joy in doing what I can to make others happy, doing what I can to please others, and to, try to take away the things in the world that aren't going right for them. But you know what? That's not your job to try to solve other people's problems for them. Because 99% of the time, when somebody comes to you with an issue, they just want to talk. They want to sort their own stuff out. If they ask for advice, that's a whole nother story. that is completely different, or if you're confused as to whether or not they're trying to just ask them flat out, you want me to listen, or you want my opinion? Or that's a very simple solution to that. But it's a lot harder than we all realize to practice, because none of us really fully spend the time to see what our issues are that are causing any kind of dismay, that are causing us to be empty or be needing, and we don't realize that sometimes we're the ones that are lacking. That's why we're reaching out to help others. And so needless to say, after long rambling, I decided it was time to look in the mirror. It was time to not really listen to other people, but to see what it is that I was lacking, that was taking me away from being the person that I am, to being the man that I am. I remember, the struggles I've had through my entire adult life. At some point in time, you've got to stop blaming other people for stuff. Yeah, maybe your family, your parents didn't give you enough hugs, or they gave you too many hugs, or, they didn't teach you the things that you were supposed to learn, the responsibilities, the life skills that you're going to need to make it through, or the coping mechanisms, all these things. Yeah, that happens. That's a very common thing. But at some point in time, you've got to realize that it's your own damn responsibility to step up and make the change. You can get mad at other people, you can blame other people, you can try to reason and use logic, and the problem with being smart is you think that you can outthink other people, and really what you're doing, whether you want to realize it or not, you're trying to control the situation. And control is one of the ugliest things in the world. It is something that is so... It's really an illusion, if you want to be honest. You can control yourself. That's about it. You can't control how you feel, but you can control how you react. You can control how you behave. You can control your choices. And the main thing that you have to realize is when you make a decision or a choice, you've got to stick with that. You've got to follow that through. Now, yes, there are some situations to where you can realize you're wrong, or that, it could use some adjusting, but people all too often tend to say things, and I'm guilty of this myself, say things with an intended outcome in mind, with thinking that, okay, that this is what's going to happen, and this is how it's going to be. But that's not how it works. You've got to say or think or do whatever it is that you're doing with the understanding that not only is that may or may not work, but you've got to be okay with whatever the hell happens at the end of that. And that is freedom. Letting go of control, letting go of trying to change outcomes or change feelings or any of that stuff. It's freeing. And I cannot express things that have happened for me personally just over the past month. And one of the bad things that comes along with that you've got to learn to deal with, you've got to learn with the bad things in life, is once you start realizing all this stuff and you start seeing, okay, well, this makes sense, then you get hit with guilt. Oh shit, it piles on thick, because you realize, like, wow, none of that other shit mattered, but that was you that did that. Make your amends with yourself and move on. Realize that you're a human being and you're going to do stupid shit. You're going to do bad things. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to hurt people around you. You are going to destroy careers or, certain situations that happens, and that's okay. You're going to mess up your goals. You're going to set yourself back, and that's okay. As long as you don't stick with that. Some progress is better than no progress, but eventually you get to a point to where you realize what progress really is. And you're never going to really understand it until you realize that you're only shortchanging yourself. So, I woke up happy this morning and content. And reflects in everything that I do now. It reflects in my relationships with people. It reflects in my job, the way that I'm, you know, things are just working out. You know, like I've always had a problem being late for work. I've been on time consistently, thinking that it was just so hard. Well, traffic this and you know, all these excuses, when it was just keeping routine. It was keeping pattern. It was being accountable. You know, accountability is one of the most important things in life, because without accountability, you aren't going to grow. You're always going to be empty. And you know, I can say that I have a lot of peace and happiness in my life right now, and I've had a lot of good things in my life over the past several years. It's been great, and I'm just going to keep rolling with it and realize what I have and be grateful. You know, and I'm not sure what shifted, what happening took place that just, you know, maybe it was that lack of accountability. Maybe it was that, you know, complacency, or, you know, confusion of thinking you're doing more than you are. But either way, once I looked in the mirror and stopped blaming other people, and you know, none of that phony stuff like, well, I shouldn't have done this, or I shouldn't have let that person do this, or, you know, I've been letting, you know, X, Y, and Z affect my work, or at work this problem happens. But the thing is if you love yourself, you're going to recognize abuse. There's a big difference in abuse, whether it be verbally or anything. You're going to recognize that, and you're not going to tolerate it. And you're not going to confuse things for abuse. You know, I've looked down on my job for a lot of bad things before, and 90% of them were my own problem. So I'm going to leave everybody on that note, that sometimes taking some time to look at yourself really, really changes things. Because I know that has for me, and I'm grateful for that, and I wanted to share that with everyone. So take care.